This is an introduction to American literature. The essential question here is, how does one's culture affect his or her interpretation of the American dream? So the first thing that we did was identify your own interpretation of the American dream. We read a few quotes that helped us to sort of formulate our response. And then we came up with these answers to these questions to identify what the American dream means to us personally. The purpose of this was to look at how American literature has come about through the ages, starting now with Native American literature, which has been around since before any Europeans arrived into this land. So early Native American literature includes the point of view and theme, and we're definitely going to look at the theme of Native American literature today. So one of the major themes was that Native American traditions was that everything lived in harmony with nature. So they had very complex beliefs, and that all of those beliefs came together because of the human interaction with the natural world. So Native American literature was passed down through storytelling because they didn't have a means of writing the stories down. And the main purpose was to emphasize how people live in harmony with nature. They believed that everything worked together, that there was a kinship between the animals and the humans, and plants and humans and the sky, and everything worked in harmony. There are many different types of oral traditions. We're basically going to focus on myths and folk tales. So myths were passed down to explain how the world is the way that it is. They were really the events of supernatural beings. A myth is really to explain the unexplainable to people. And creation myths in particular explain how the universe, how Earth, and how life began. So these creation myths would guide people through how to live their lives, and more importantly, they identified cause and effect relationships. Folk tales tell how the world was transformed to its present state. So they would teach social values or explain natural phenomena. They too are passed down orally, and they can include myths, fairy tales, legends, and fables. The Iroquois Indians were one of the largest Indian groups before the Europeans arrived. They actually dominated what is now considered to be the area in New York City. We'll read The World on the Turtle's Back, which is an Iroquois creation myth. It contains the idea that there is a sky world where supernatural beings exist. It's a story of cause and effect, that the actions of the supernatural beings cause the present features of the world to exist. And then it explains how things were created, how the land was formed. So, to review, cause and effect is how one event brings about another. An example from the story is that a woman walked around in a circle on a turtle's back. Consequently, the earth was created. Other themes. A theme is a central idea the writer intends to share. Can a lesson be about life, people, and actions? So themes in The World on the Turtle's Back is that the Iroquois myth which explains how the world was created. It expresses a Native American ideal of people living in harmony with nature. The world is made up of forces that seem in opposition to another, but these opposites are needed for balance and harmony. Next, we have the Okanagan Indians. They originally lived in what is now north-central Washington state. They told folk tales in their native language of Salish. They belonged to an oral tradition of animal people. Mourning Dove, a.k.a. Christine Quintasket, was an Okanagan descendant recorded the traditional stories in the early 1900s, and that's where we get these two stories from. The Coyote and the Buffalo, and Fox, Coyote and Whale. The coyote is one of the most important animal people, a central figure in both stories that we will read. They're thought to have been made the world inhabitable for humans by killing monsters and bringing fire and salmon, among other deeds. They're told in many Native American tribes.